Hollow Knight is widely known as a very difficult game, whether it be its challenging level design, its enemies that are scattered around, or sometimes it's just kind of obstacles that make you want to cry. There's also, however, lots of bosses in this game, I believe at least 44, and that's today's video is going to be going over bosses, because obviously not every boss was made fairly. Some bosses are super easy, some bosses are ridiculously hard, and we're going to make a tier list, if you will, of the easiest bosses to the hardest. Let's just get right into it and start with the easiest boss in the game. In my opinion, the easiest boss in the game is the Flukehorn boss found in Royal Waterways. It is not even a challenge. This boss, you walk into the room, there are enemies in the game that are way tougher than it. It's just not hard. The only attack it has is spitting out these little like flying worm creatures, but they die in 2 hits so your nail is upgraded at all. They do 1 damage even. The boss has like no health. You can just spam the howling wraiths and even just like stab it with the needle a bunch of times. Pogo off it if you wanted like the easiest way. You just pogo and just keep spamming down, keep timing that, and you just click it 3 times and you win. It is by far the easiest boss in the game. It's not a challenge at all. The only thing that's challenging about it is looking at it because it is pretty yucky looking. The next boss I'm going to be talking about is Vengefly King. This is once again one of the very early bosses in the game, and like Gruzmother, it is super easy. It has 2 attacks this time, which we're getting crazy now. But it has a dive attack kind of, where it goes across the screen, comes at you, but that's super easy to avoid. You just jump, and you also get a free pogo there, so that's a good time to damage it. Another attack it has is it will kind of yell at you, and then it'll summon little Vengeflies. But honestly, the only thing that's for is giving you soul, because if you're getting hit by Vengeflies, then you're just extremely new to the game, which is admittedly when the boss appears, but even for someone that is new to the game, this boss really poses no threat. You get soul, you shoot it with your gun. By gun, I mean the shade. And you're done. There's no real threats, there's no mix-up to this boss, it's very predictable. There's very easy to react to when it dives, and there really is no reason that you should be losing to it. The next boss is going to be Crystal Guardian. I'm going to include phases 1 and 2 because really the fights don't change. It just phase 1, it is slower and not as much damage, and phase 2 it's double damage, so you're going to get hit for 2, and it's a lot faster. But honestly, like I said, I'm going to focus on phase 2 because it's the harder one. It is not a hard boss fight. If you have Shadow Dash, then it is probably the easiest boss fight in the game. Obviously, Flukehorn will always be easier, but it's one of the easiest boss fights in the game. You have like Sharp Shadow on specifically, you're able to just dash through them, and their attacks are null and void. Like the amount of time you have to react, and the amount of situal awareness that you'll have to not have in order to get hit by it is insane. And even if you don't have Shadow Dash, like that makes this boss a lot harder, admittedly, because you don't get free damage and you have to still avoid things. Just jump over the laser. It's not that difficult. There's a lot of time to heal in this boss fight. There's a lot of time where like you're just gonna be relaxing, just kind of hitting him for free. No attacks are gonna be up. There's gonna be no threat. Like his jump, just dash. Really, the name of the game in this fight is just dash. Some maybe things that you might get hard are like he might jump into you while the laser's shooting down, and that's unfortunate. But even if so, the fact that it'll happen 3 times with his limited amount of health is just very unlikely. Overall, not a hard boss fight. Just kind of hit him a bunch, try to tank through it, and you should be fine. The next easiest boss is going to be Gruzmother. Now, same thing kind of with Fluke Nest, except this one kind of has a challenge because you can maybe get hit by it. Gruzmother, it has 1 attack where it goes up or it goes down, and you could just move to the left. The only way you will ever lose to this boss, ever, is if you are just being super impatient and you're just trying to tank through it. But even then, it's not hard. It is the first boss in the game, kind of, like, if you're playing it normally, this is probably the first boss you'll fight, this or False Knight, and as a first boss should be, it is very easy. There's no mix-up, it's the same attack over and over again, not a ton of health, you just kind of stab it with your nail, and then you're done for the day. Next is going to be Giant Moss Charger. This boss really has nothing too difficult about it. I don't know, that's all I have to say. It's one of the most linear bosses in the game. Really, the strat is, if you want to do it super quickly, is just to hit it, like, because every time you hit it, he goes backwards, which is like just kind of a poor design for a boss. He acts like a normal Moss Charger, and you just hit him back over and over and over again. Even if you can take 1,000,000 damage, and it doesn't matter, because that's how easy the boss is. You just hit him back over and over, and it just dies. And this strategy doesn't get farther than that. You just hit the guy. There's nothing to it. Next up is going to be Elder Who. Not a difficult boss. Once again, all these early bosses, I'm going to say they're not difficult because they're not. The way this boss works is he just kind of, how do I describe it good? He just kind of throws things down at you, and you just either dash to the left or dash to the right, and then hit him when you can, and that's basically all it is. There is one move that is somewhat difficult if you don't have Shadow Dash, where you have to time going between the discs that he's throwing down at you, because like they're coming down, you got to make sure, A, you got to get us out of the way, but also the timing is not difficult, and once he does this move, you get a chance to heal like 2, maybe even 3. And it's just a trade-off that it's so easy to take, even just to tank it like right at the start and get out of there. If you're being impatient with this boss, you're going to be taking a lot more damage than you should. But if you're just like actually being calm and you're fighting it normally, like you're going to be fine. Just the guy doesn't have a lot of health. He's very easy to kill. Just beat him up when you get the chance, and don't be too risky, and you'll have nothing to worry about. The next fight is going to be Xerox, and this fight, you really just have to be aware of your surroundings, because the needle attacks he throws at you, his only attack, are very slow and very easy to dodge, because he throws them, you dash, you hit him twice, same old cycle over and over again. The only reason you're going to lose this fight is if you're getting, let's say you get hit once, and then you're trying to heal, because realistically in this fight, you're not going to have time to heal, but you also shouldn't need to heal, because he doesn't have a ton of health, his attacks are super slow, and if you just play it cool, you really are going to be fine. Just make sure that if you do get hit, just the key thing to remember in this fight is do not try to heal, because you probably won't have time, and if you get the heal off, you're just gonna get hit again, because that's how the spikes, they come in kind of fast, not too fast, like nothing to cry about, but be aware. Make sure you're not going for stupid attacks where you shouldn't. He doesn't have a lot of health. Just don't go for dump heals, and you'll be fine. Up next is Noes, and this boss is annoying. This boss is creepy, but this boss is not hard. The way Noes works is that you have a bunch of platforms that you're gonna have to jump to hit her, and she just sends ghosts kind of flying across the screen very slowly and at very predictable angles of going up and down. And that's the fight. She teleports after you hit her once or twice. Even if you don't hit her, she just kind of teleports around. And you really shouldn't have a problem. She doesn't have a ton of health. If you do get hit, the strategy here is you just go to the bottom platform. Not that even the platform, like the bottom on the ground. And then you'll be completely fine. It's very rare that a ghost hit you. And if a ghost does, like, you think it's going to hit you, just cancel your heal. It kind of sucks and move. If you're taking this boss slow, you're going for 1 or 2 hits, and you're making sure not to dash into the boss or the ghost, like, on the way down. Don't panic. You're going to be fine. Also, like, falling into the spikes on the side, you got to be careful of those, but they really aren't that big of a problem. Just, once again, take this boss slow, and make sure you don't panic with your heals. The next boss is going to be Dung Defender, because I feel like for this boss, you can just kind of mash your face against them. And that's kind of the extent of the challenge. You hit them a bunch, and then they die. None of the attacks they have are threatening. You just gotta make sure you're not standing too close to them. When they're in the ball form, if you get a good cycle, you could juggle them for like almost half their health. Their dig attack is super slow. Everything they're doing is very predictable and very just not fast. You can just move. They'll be fine. I also feel like he doesn't have a ton of health for he looks like he should be beefy, and he's just not. So just stay on your feet with this boss, and you're really not gonna get hit at all. You don't say don't get inside of him, but if you want to damage boost him, you can. There's also a strat that's implemented where you can just dive him when he's underground, like Dark Descent, and he just kind of dies. He pops up, you get a ton of damage, and it's super free. It's a cool mechanic, but also goddamn doesn't make the boss easy. Up next is going to be False Knight, and I'll also include, I think the name is Failed Champion, basically the dream version of False Knight. Really, there is no challenge with this boss. You just hit False Knight a bunch, and they're not even going to have time to get an attack out, really. They attack super slow, super predictable. When they go up in the air, you just dash or move, and you can also hit them a ton in the air. Maybe I have a bias because I've been trying to speedrun a lot Hollow Knight lately, and this is one of the bosses that you just are going to need to speedrun because he's on the route. So I played against him a lot, but his attacks are super slow, super predictable. You can just dash under him or over him, and he takes a ton of damage super quickly, and I feel like he doesn't have a ton of health, but at least the damage you do towards him is not a ton of health. Phase 2 is actually a bit harder because he does hit for 2. You have to make sure you're careful, make sure you're not going for too many risky hits, but still, it doesn't get that much harder if you know what you're doing. You just gotta be careful, gotta be slow. You can also have tons of time to heal when you hit him down, because when you hit him down, he kind of stays down there for a while. You can dream nail him as much as you want for the first phase, or the first 2 phases, you get 1 or 2 dream nails in, get a bunch of heal, and when he's doing the attack that makes rocks fall from the ceiling, you just go in the corner, heal there. You'll rarely have to move at all. The boss really is not too difficult. The next fight, I believe it's Brooding Muller, I think that's how you say it. This fight is really, there's only 2 attacks, is the basic spit and then the volley spit. And the volley split's really the only attack you're going to have to worry about, because as you see in the footage here, that it's just so easy to avoid. He also, I guess, completely forgot, he does jumps and he does a slash when you're too close to him. But if you have Shadow Dash, it becomes one of the easiest boss fights in the game. Like, that's why it's so low. But if you don't have Shadow Dash, like when I first fought him, this is a boss fight you can access fairly early. It is a pretty difficult because it's very hard to avoid that the volley move, or all those acid sprays are coming down at you at once. It's almost impossible to avoid, and you're not going to do as much damage, so you're going to have to go through a lot of those. But once you do get that Shadow Dash, it makes it infinitely easier. So if this was just like with all resources always, like a lot of these bosses, doesn't matter what resource you have, they're just easier, they're just hard. But this is a boss where resources matter a ton. So if you have that Shadow Dash, then boss is super easy. If you don't, boss still isn't too difficult, because you can just do damage. You can jump over them before they do that attack, or while they're doing the attack while it's falling. And you should be fine, just to make sure. This also is a boss you can heal, which is unfortunate, but you really shouldn't be taking that much damage, besides maybe a volley, and if you're getting too greedy with the stab attacks, then just don't do that. Just take your time, hit him once or twice, then go away, because he's going to slice you, and that's going to suck. Up next is Galleon, and this is the part in the video where I can start seeing if people like are having troubles with these bosses. Like before, I'm like, everyone has their poison obviously, but I feel like there's pretty definite strategies to deal with them. Galleon, I feel like there's a lot to deal with at once, there's a lot to panic, and it can be scary, but really the strat with this guy is just to deal out damage. Just hit him as much as you can whenever you can. Even if you're going to take damage, it doesn't matter, because he doesn't have a ton of health, and Howling Spirits are always super great. You hit him a bunch with the up slash Howling Spirit, and the fight should be done fairly quickly. It's not a long fight, it's not a tough fight. But I could see you're scared of the saw blades, but really, yeah, just crank through them and you should be fine. You should have done enough materials by the time you get to him in Deep Nest that you're gonna have nothing to worry about. Hive Knight is a boss that I feel there's nothing too difficult about, but none of their attacks are inherently like easy. It's a very meh boss in my opinion. I like the design, it's cool looking, but there's nothing about it that's challenging, there's nothing about it that's free. So I'm gonna put it in deep because, like I said, it's not a ton of health, pretty easy to just kind of hit through him, and none of his attacks are super threatening. He has 2 dash attacks, one where he just spits a bunch of bees, but that one's kind of a joke because you just move left or right accordingly. And then he has this spike attack, which can actually be somewhat difficult to avoid mixing with other moves. But if you're just aware of where they are, maybe it's because I've done the Cuphead bee fight, and there's a similar attack with the ball that he throws out where the spikes go everywhere. Maybe just like I'm in the bee, so now I'm in that Cuphead tryhard bee mode, because that fight's actually pretty difficult. That honestly, I feel like that might be it, because I feel like the similarities there make me go mega mode when I really shouldn't have to be. But that fight, nothing to worry about. Just make sure you stay calm. You are going to have chances to heal when he gets knocked down, and just be aware of the bees. Look up before you're attacking, because if you're getting caught off guard by those bees coming down, those spikes hitting you, it's going to ruin your vibe, your mojo, your momentum, and that's going to mess up the whole fight. So as long as you have a pattern, you should be fine. Up next was a boss that I didn't even know was a boss until it got to the Pantheons, which is Soul Warrior. This boss has a slash attack, a projectile attack that's kind of annoying, and a teleport, which makes them infinitely harder because teleports are annoying and stupid. The teleport just kind of makes it so you're going to have to make sure that when you get your attacks in, you're actually hitting them, because it just makes the fight longer. It might mess up your timing as well. But this is essentially just a predecessor to... I can't remember the name, but basically the flying version of him. There's 3 versions of this boss fight, and none of them are super difficult, because he dashes, he throws the projectile, and he teleports. Just make sure when he teleports, you're aware that he's going to teleport, and don't get caught off guard by it, because then, once again, it'll ruin your momentum. But if you get pranked by a teleport or 2, don't let it stress you out, because he doesn't have a ton of health. You can crank through him pretty easily, and none of his attacks are super dangerous. Heal time for that fight, though, you're probably not going to get any, which is unfortunate. That's the only reason I think he's that high, because if you are panicking, then you're not really going to get a chance to heal. But obviously, you're not going to really need a chance to heal, because you should be able to out-damage him before he out-damages you. All the gorp fight is just kind of going between his needle attacks, and that's all it is because it's his only attack. You're not going to have a chance to heal after the first phase, which is him shooting one set of needles, second phase 2, third phase 3, you get the point. Because you're just not gonna happen, because I can almost guarantee there will be a needle standing there, or not standing there, but where you're standing a needle will show up shortly. But it's honestly not that big of a deal because Gorp does not have a ton of health, and if you just play patiently, you dodge all his attacks, it is a pattern. You go one out, one in, one out, and hit him twice, you win. And just make sure you do that though. If you're getting overwhelmed, if you're seeing this stuff on your screen, there's more, oh my god, there's so many, then you're gonna get scared, you're gonna panic. But realistically, you only need to worry about the ones you're between. The other like 6 don't matter. So just make sure you stay calm, make sure you don't try to soak as much damage as you can and win, because if you don't have a ton of health, you might not win. But if you're playing it smart, you're playing it slow, it really is no reason. Gorp should not be that much of a threat. Just make sure to play it smart and slow. Marmu is a boss that the first time you fight them, I feel like you just struggle against, because you're like, what is going on? But after that, after you get the gist, you really should be doing fine against him. You just kind of stand still and then just press Y in their, or not Y, whatever attack is, I forget, in their direction, and then you win. That's all the fight is. Just like, people get nervous and they attack, they move, they jump into it, they get scared, they want to do as much damage as they can, they want to use spells to go quickly. You don't have to. Just look where he is, and then press the attack button, and then he bounces away, and then you're fine. That's all the fight is. Not that big of a deal. Don't overthink it. Umumu without the Isma's tier fight is a very difficult boss fight. Umumu with it is a super easy boss fight. And that's just kind of how it is. There's 2 types. I'm going to be talking about kind of both of them, but in the middle, there's the story one where it's like, you have to wait for the, I forget his name, I think it's Squirrel, to hit Umumu, and then you can attack them. And there's the Pantheon one, where you have to hit the jellyfish in. I think hitting the jellyfish in personally is harder, because you have a chance of like hurting yourself with a jellyfish, compared to just waiting. But also, you're going to have Isma's tier by then, and that makes the fight super easy. Just being able to swim in the acid, having not a care in the world, you should be fine. But if, let's say you're doing it in the campaign, your first time doing it, you have to wait for Coral and you don't have Isma's tier, the strats are to hug the bottom corners. He does that slow attack where he's following you, just run up the wall, you're going to be fine. He does the attack, like, just try to stay on the ground at all times before he starts attacking, because then in that case scenario, you're going to be able to react to which one he's doing. Let's say he's doing one where your position is covered, you just move to the wall, you wall jump there. Let's say he's doing one where he's tracking you, you just slowly wall jump up the wall, then dash to the right, dash to the left. Sometimes Umu can be in a spot that's annoying and blocks you off, but that's very rare and it shouldn't happen too many times. As long as you take the fight slow and patient, you're only going to have to go through 5 cycles if you're a normal person, 2 if you're insane, and you'll probably be fine. Soulmaster is a fight that after you've done Soul Warrior, it's just laughable. The fight has 4 attacks that you're going to have to worry about. One where he just runs at you across the screen. That attack is really your chances for free. 2 hits, you hit him, you pogo off him, and you hit him behind. Then he has an attack where his normal attack where he shoots projectiles at you, then teleports across the screen, which is annoying and makes the fight long, and it kind of sucks. He also has an attack where he things spin around him and he comes at you. That one's pretty easy. You also get a lot of hits in there because you just jump between them, then hit him up. That's your only chance to really heal in the fight besides your 3 knockdown positions. And that's super nice because you go to the corner, you jump over one of the things because he's going to shoot them back, and then you heal. Awesome. He also has an attack where he dives down at you. The strat there is going to be to jump, and then sometimes he might fake you out and teleport like where you're jumping to, and then you're going to get hit. But you jump, and then you see if he's going to attack again. If he attacks again, you just dive the other way, and you'll be fine. If he doesn't, then you just dive in the air, and once again, you'll be fine. Take this fight slow and don't get faked up by the second phase, because the first time I did it, and it made me really upset. Just be aware, make sure you're not taking things too quickly, and because the fight honestly is a slow fight, and it kind of sucks, but some slow fights are good because they help test your endurance, and this is an endurance fight. Not a difficult one, but not an easy one. The next fight is going to be Markov, which I've heard a lot of complaining about, but when I did it personally, I didn't find it that hard. Maybe the one part where you have it without the floor makes it a lot harder, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about normal in-game Markov, which is just not super difficult. The strat here is just hit him when he can, when he's low. If he's high in the sky, don't worry about him until he does his shield attack. That's your main chance to hit and heal, if you're going to need to heal, which you probably won't, because he doesn't have a ton of health. You can get a ton of damage in, and once he summons his second shield, you should have a lot of soul, and you just spam that Howling Spirit, and he's gonna die in like 3 hits. Because you can kind of just out damage Markov. Now the fact that he is annoying to hit though, and can evade you if you have bad RNG, like he flies away from you, that kind of sucks, and that makes the fight somewhat difficult. But if that doesn't happen, it's free, so it's kind of a 50-50, so he's kind of in the middle of the road difficulty. Next up, we're going to be talking about one of the coolest bosses in the game, in my opinion, the Collector. The Collector is a boss that really is not hard if you have nail upgrades. If you don't have nail upgrades, then the boss gets scary. But if you're one-shotting all the things he's dropping from his jars, then it really is not that hard. The strat here is literally just to, if he drops something from a jar, immediately go hit it. Do not let that waste on the field, because then you're going to have to micromanage him jumping around like a goof, and these little things that are trying to hit you. But if you kill them the second they come out, then you're really not going to have a problem. Because those primal aspids, those little bully guys on the ground, they can get annoying if he's jumping at you as well. But if you deal with them the second they come out, you get free soul, and you really don't have to worry about it for the rest of the fight. Collector, besides that, the Collector himself is not the challenge, it's just micromanaging everything. So if you can micromanage, you can hit those things, make sure you can one-shot them. Make sure your nail is upgraded, for the love of God, because if you're going to have to two-shot those things, it's going to make it a lot harder. That's all I gotta say about that fight, really. Anyway, Collector, not too bad. The best way I could describe the Wobbles is just bullet hell. And goddamn, is it a bullet hell. Is it the hardest bullet hell of my life? No. Is it the easiest one? Definitely not. Especially with both of them on the screen. You're gonna have to avoid it a lot. You're gonna have to do some sick movement, some sick dance moves to avoid. But after that, you should be fine. And then after you kill the first Wobble, he starts attacking real fast, the next one. Going real fast. But at that point, there's only one left, and you're probably going to have enough health where you can just damage tank through it anyway, so you really shouldn't have a problem, unless you just got destroyed in the first phase. But if you got destroyed in the first phase, then you're probably just bad at bullet hells, and that's unfortunate. But it does have a pattern, so you just duck and weave, duck and weave. Don't try to hit when they're attacking. There's always an opportunity. You're not going to be able to heal. It is what it is. Just make sure you know when you can hit, make sure you know when you can't. Kingzo is a fight that I just don't like. It's not super hard conceptually, there's no attack that he has that makes me mad and throw my controller, but he's just annoying. Not only does he sound annoying, but he also just runs annoying, he looks annoying, and when he hits you, you go, why am I being hit by this? The hardest move for me, the one you have to look out for the most, are his little Zotlings, because they're just, like I said, the micromanaging is always hard. If you cannot, then you shouldn't. But also the one where he's diving on you and then teleports to the ground, and then like that always messes me up for some reason. Maybe it's just because I don't expect it. I have a momentum thing, and then it messes up. Also, when he dives midair, you dash out of the way, and then he just kind of moves to the left or right according to where you are. That kind of sucks. So just make sure that doesn't happen. And if it does, it does. You should be able to tank through him. He doesn't have a ton of health. Now we're talking Zote when he does round 9 Zote where he one-shots you. Don't even get me started. I'm not going that far, and I never will, because that's just please. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time. The next fight is going to be the Nail Masters. I don't know their names. Kind of stupid of me. You think I'd know their names for this video, but hey, I do things without a script. They have attacks that really aren't too difficult, but once you have 2 of them, it kind of gets hard. The first phase, you can just damage boost him. He does like as you saw there, he does 2 hits max. You get that all back with soul. Now when there's 2 of them, you're going to have to be a bit more careful, because you're going to have to micromanage. They're going to be doing more damage to you. You're going to have to make sure that you know where both of them are at both times, or else you're going to be taking a lot of hits. They have attacks where they jump from the sky, they have attacks where they dash you, they have a little twirl attack you're seeing right there, and when they're doing that little twirl attack, you're just going to want to focus on the other one. You're generally, kind of like Mantis Lords, you're going to want to focus on one specifically so you can damage them out and then go back to that first phase, which once again is not too difficult. Honestly, the hardest part about this boss fight is getting to it in the Pantheon, just because of how long it takes to get there, because going through 5 boss fights before, 6 boss fights, however many, it kind of drains your mental, and then you get there and you're like, oh god. So just make sure you take a little break maybe before it if you can't handle it, because it is very annoying to have to deal with it again. During the second phase also, you're not really going to get much time to heal. The best time you're going to want to attack is after he either does his dive move or his slash move. After he does the tornado, he's pretty much just a god, so don't hit him there. When he comes down for the tornado, you're good, but before that, just stray away and you should be fine. Traitor Lord is literally an exact copy of the enemy in the game, except now he is bigger, he has attack where he hits the ground and you have to shadow dash through it, and then he does 2 damage. 2 damage is the scariest thing about him, because sometimes when you get hit for 2, your brain goes monkey mode and you just shut down. But as long as you don't get hit for 2, because you're just staying above him, pogoing on him, you're going to be fine. Generally, the strat I like to use is I pogo on him twice, then I double jump Monarch Wing, pogo twice, see what he does, dash through that attack, and then, yeah, you can generally just kind of go through him really fast. He doesn't have a ton of health. You don't even need spells. You just pogo on him, keep a safe distance from him, and you should be fine. One strat, though, if you do want to be super safe, is just pogo once, then dash out of there. Then you can react if he dashes, or if he's jumping, or let's say he throws out the ring move, which is not hard to avoid because you can just walk away and then duck between. If he is doing the move where he hits the ground and he sends out those shockwaves, just walk away. Make sure your shadow dash is ready because you're not going to want to dash through that because then you'll get hit too. And that just kind of sucks getting hit too in a boss fight where you're always getting hit too. So make sure your shadow dash is up. If he, let's say, for example, he does 2 attacks sometimes, shadow dash up, you'll be good to go. Just keep your calm even if he's hitting you for 2. Nothing too bad's going to happen. God Tamer is another boss that I feel like is maybe a little bit hard just because of the fact that you have to go through an entire Coliseum of Fools to get there. At the end of the day, though, the boss is pretty simple with only really 3 major attacks, being the spit attack and the rollout attack. And then also there's that dumb little ant that flies at you, but you really don't have to worry about the ant at all. You're only going to really hit the ant for soul because when you kill the big boss, mainly like the weird slug spider rolly thing, I don't know what he is, but if you kill him, you just like damage boost the hell out of him, use your spells against him accordingly, you're going to be fine. He's essentially as the rollout move of Watcher Knights with the spit move of Brood Mother, or Brooding Malloc, rather. I think that's what it is. Whatever. The leg spider. And you hit him with that when he's doing that one. You use Fireball when he's doing the spinning move. And he's going to die pretty dang quickly. Just make sure you don't get nervous. Be like, oh god, I'm finally about to beat Coliseum of Fools. And then, lost to God Tabor. That sucks. I remember during Trial of the Night, I believe it's in Trial of the Night or the one with the bug, that it gets to the one with the bug. Okay, Hollow Knight. The fly. And Hollow Knight that I was getting really mad against him at because I was just trying to like just nail into him, just damage boost him. You can't do that. You have to make sure you're staying careful. It's not one of those boss fights where you can just flail and hope it works because realistically it's not going to. Just stay calm. You're not going to get a lot of healing. It is what it is. Make sure you stay far away from him except when he's doing the rollout. Get 2 hits in. Leave the ant. Just be aware of where the ant is and you don't even have to worry about them. The ant is a joke. Next is my personal favorite boss in the game, Watcher Knights. Watcher Knights is just kind of a cool boss because there are 6 Watcher Knights you have to deal with, and each one is the exact same as the other with 2 moves. They have, or I guess 3. They have a rollout where they just go straight at you, a rollout where they bounce at you, and just a slash move. Each move is very easy to tell what they're going to do. You have lots of time to react, and you don't really have to worry about catching you off guard. The only time, realistically, where you should be getting hit during Watcher Knights is if one of them does a rollout where they're jumping, one of them does a rollout where they're on the ground, and you're kind of sandwiched between them there. But any other time you're getting hit during Watcher Knights, it's just you being greedy. I'm going to keep it honest with you. Sometimes we get a bit greedy in this game because we think we think we are better than these bosses, we can just damage them out, and we can't because they are always alpha. There's a time when they're rolling where they're every time they're rolling, they're completely invincible to your nail, but you can use spells, so when they're rolling away from you, you're going to want to jump behind and use the spell because you're going to get a ton of damage in there. Descending Dark on them. Use your spells, use your nail if they're doing the slash attack, you can hit them twice, pogo over. There's a ton of strats to Watcher Knight. It's just a super versatile fight. I love this fight to death. Maybe that's I have high as well though because it's still a challenging fight. But there's nothing about Watcher Knights that's unfair. It's just you were greedy or you kind of got an unlucky angle. But the unlucky angles don't happen enough for you to be complaining about it. Just be calm, don't heal, and you'll be good to go. I think I put Hornet this high namely because when you do fight Hornet normally at the start of the game, you have no movement. And that is what makes Hollow Knight easy, is movement. In Hornet, you will never ever have movement, you will have Fireball, and that is it. Now, like I said earlier, I have been speedrunning more, so I've been getting a lot better at the Hornet fight because that is, a necessary fight. But when you don't have movement, Hornet can trick you up. You just have to walk away from all her moves, and that's kind of annoying. Some of them are kind of quick. You gotta predict what she's doing. You gotta react, and fights where you react are always difficult. But Hornet doesn't have a lot of health. You can just kind of slash her, you can fireball her, and you should get through her pretty quickly. Just make sure you know when you can heal and when you can't, because most of the time it's can't unless she's down or really far away from you. Maybe like in the javelin attack, you'll be fine then. Hornet too as well. I feel like it's not that much different because she's just a bit faster, has a bit more health. And that spike move is kind of just irrelevant in my opinion. But yeah, Hornet, not a hard fight, just damn, it sucks when you don't have movement. Up next is going to be something that might shock most people, Radiance. When I fought Radiance, it took me 2 tries. And for the final boss in the game, I feel like it shouldn't take that little tries. Like, the moves were all very dictated. You had a lot of time to react. You always had big hitboxes. You always had a ton of time to get your hits in. You just dashed through them. None of their attacks are super difficult to me. I don't know. Now, the fact that they hit for 2 is annoying, and there is that one sword attack where you have to dash through them that is actually kind of difficult, especially when there is spikes on the ground, and then you have a bunch of things coming at you once, and that kind of sucks. But personally, when I fought Radiance, I didn't find it was too difficult. Maybe I just had a really good charm setup against it. Sorry, I'm using some other footage because I don't know where mine went for it, and I'm not trying to look back in all my footage because there's just so much for this video. The hardest thing you're going to have to do with Radiance is just making sure that if there's 3 attacks coming at you once, you have spikes on the ground, you have balls in the air, and you have swords in the diagonal or whatever you call it, you just don't panic. If you stay calm, you can pogo off the spikes, you can make sure you have your Shadow Dash up available at all times, and you're generally going to do fine. Now, Absolute Radiance, don't talk to me. Just don't. I'm not playing for 20 minutes of bosses to get to something that hits me for like 80 damage for in one hit and then attacks at lightning speed. Like, please, let's be realistic here. But normal Radiance, I think normal Radiance is a totally fine boss fight. I think it's super fair. I think it's the most middle-of-the-road boss fight in the game where it's definitely challenging, but there's nothing about it that screams like unfair, unlike some bosses that are up ahead. The next fight is going to be against Paintmaster Shio, Bob Ross themselves. The only reason that this boss fight is high is maybe just because I had such a hard time doing it the first time. Maybe it's because I was taking it too fast. I was trying to rush through it, and you just cannot rush through this boss. You have to take this boss slow, because if you don't, their attacks will mess you up. They have that super long range yellow attack that goes across the stage, the blue paint attack that shoots these projectiles that are kind of lopsidedly falling at you, and those always annoy the hell out of me. I don't know why. She has a pink attack where he does a big charge and then it kind of rains down. That attack is realistically the most easy to avoid, as long as, like I said, you're not trying to be greedy. And you should know something about me in Hollow Knight is I'm a very greedy player, and I lose a lot because of it. And this is a fight where just greed is... It screws you over big time, and that maybe that's why I found it so difficult. But if you're not being greedy, you're gonna be fine. You're not gonna have time to heal during this fight. You're gonna have to accept that fact. It kind of sucks. It happens. You're not always gonna be able to heal. It's a tough world out there. But you're not healing. You're not being greedy. You're getting 1. You're getting 2 hits. You're letting him do whatever he wants, and then you're going back in. You should be fine. Just make sure you're getting those 1 or 2 hits, or else it's gonna be a lot harder. Up next is going to be Mantis Lords. Mantis Lords is one of the coolest fights in the game, in my opinion. Just kind of a cool concept, but it's also fairly difficult. Reminder: in this game, you're not gonna have Monarch Wings. Your nail's gonna be level 1. You're probably not gonna have any spells besides the Fireball. Maybe? No, that should be all you have. I don't remember exactly when you get Howling Wraiths or whatever it's called, the up B of Hollow Knight. I don't remember when you get that, but you're not gonna have it now, pretty sure. And that sucks because damaging these guys is hard. Their boosts are quick. They only let you get 2 hits max. When they're on the walls, it's hard to hit them if you're not an experienced player. You're not playing against it a lot. It's a sensory overload, if you will. But especially during that, oh god, when I first fought this boss, the first phase I got it, I nailed it. Second phase, just did not know what to do. There was so much, but you just have to stay calm. You got to remember, I get my 1 hit in, I get maybe my 2 hit, but just rely on the 1, and then I get out of there, and I repeat the cycle over and over and over again. The only time you're ever going to heal during this fight is during the attack where they throw out the little discs at you, the little blades. You're going to be able to stand in the middle generally if it's the slow one. On the outside, you just jump over, and then you heal in both. And that's the only time. Never go for heals otherwise, because you're going to get hit, and chances are you'll get hit into spikes, or you'll mess up your momentum. And you never want that. So you're going to always want to take this fight very slowly. You're always going to want to make sure that everything is just cool as a cucumber. This fight, nothing to laugh at. Super cool fight. but it's a fight you need to be calm for, or it's just not gonna work out as well. Same with Sisters' battle. Like there's 3 of them now. There's a lot to handle. Just make sure you stay calm and you know when to attack. Next up is going to be Broken Vessel. I hate this fight so much. This is one of my least favorite fights in the game. It's just a hard fight, and there's a couple reasons why. The first reason is going to be he's a tiny little guy. He's hard to hit, and that hitbox being hard to hit makes me sad. All of his attacks are annoying. Like, he has a dash that comes at you across the stage. He has an attack where he slashes, and you're going to have to parry that. You're not going to be able to hit him during it. These little slime guys that are coming at you during the fight, oh, they're annoying as hell. You're not going to have a lot of time to heal because, like I said, when he's down, oh, you think you can heal then, but then these slime guys, they come at you, they hit you, and then he's back up and you didn't even get your heal. The worst part about the fight is the little slime guys. I just hate them so much. Also, at times, he'll just do this jump attack, and I feel like when I played against it, I couldn't predict it. Maybe just because I don't understand this game enough yet. But the jump attack, I just be like across the stage, and then I'm dead now. That sucks. But generally, the strat for this Lost Kin, whatever. You see the fight on the screen. The strat is you go for 1 heal max, and then you get out of there. Maybe you get your hits, and you use your spells. You use your fireball. You use your descending dark for that invincibility, and you do damage when you can. And if those little stupid orange bubbles are in the way, you pop them as soon as you can, because they're gonna be a way bigger and bigger later on. Next up, the 5th hardest boss in the game for me is going to be Great Nailmaster Sly. And this is basically just Lost Kin without bubbles, but if you made his hitbox like 3 times as small, and also now he has this stupid spin move, and the last phase sucks, and I hate it. Generally, the strat for Great Nailmaster Sly is going to do this attack where he goes 1/, 2/, and then he's going to do this up B-esque thing if you play Smash, where he does a little twirl in the air, then he comes slamming down, then you hit him twice there, and then you just leave. Any other time, there's other times to hit him, of course, but that really is the safest time because that hitbox that he's throwing out massive hitboxes, and it's just not worth contesting them for when you can get that 1 hit, you can get that 2 hit for free, and then you'll be safe. Like, he has attacks that just go across the stage that are longer than long nail. He has the tornado attack that we saw with the Nail Masters earlier, and that attack sucks. Then he has this second phase where he teleports across the stage on my moves and then does this big circle attack. I do not know how to deal with this. My only strat is have enough health so I can just tank through it and then just use spells and just use nail attacks, because I found that is the only way, because he just moves so fast. So you're going to want to take this first phase slow, and the second phase just do as much damage as you can, crank it out, because it's impossible for me to do it. I don't know how to say it otherwise. The number 3 Scott is going to go to I just hate this guy, Nask. And I'm talking normal Nask because honestly I think Wing Nask is easier to me. Maybe I'm just built different, but Wing Nask was not a challenge. Normal Nask, every time I see him, I cry. Maybe because I just don't like how he looks, so it instills that fear, and he moves so weird and fast, and I just don't like it. The strat with Nask is you sit under this little ledge when he runs at you, and that you just sit under there, and then you win. This little ledge that you see someone under right now, that is how you win the Nask fight, because you are God under that ledge. It is your country, and there's nothing he can do unless he runs at you. But in that case, you just move from the ledge. But just hope he doesn't run at you. That's really the strat to this fight. Is just hope he doesn't run at you, and then you can also heal when you're in the ledge. And God, you can tell I love this ledge so much just because of how great it is. It has brought me so much joy in life. Just because without it, I would cry myself to sleep every night without it. He also has an attack where he goes into the ceiling and drops goo on you, and a jump attack where you can hit you. And that kind of sucks when he does that. But you're gonna be at this ledge. You're gonna be able to heal. Without this ledge, probably the second hardest fight in the game. Honestly, just this ledge, it just saves me so much trauma. But even with the ledge, it's still a hard fight because there's still all of his moves are gonna hit you still. Besides one, he does that one move a lot, and thank God. And right here, this is another video because I couldn't get footage of my own, but he just got lucky because he didn't do the attack where he goes into the ceiling and drops stuff on you, and he didn't do the attack where he spits goo at random, a shoot 'em up, and the goo stays on the ground for a little bit. You have to avoid that as well while he's running at you like a race car. There's just too much. There's too much trauma to this character. Nask is beautiful design. God, I wish he would die because this fight is one of the hardest in the game. The second hardest fight in the game is going to be Pure Vessel. This boss is difficult for two reasons. He attacks at lightning speed, and all of his attacks hit for 2. This is essentially just the Hollow Knight who, you notice who I skipped because I only usually like to go for the one phase of the boss unless it's like a significant change. But I think I've only done like one phase of the boss, just the harder one this entire video, and it's, Hollow Knight, he's no different. Pure Vessel is just Hollow Knight, except he's on 2 times speed and he hits for 2 damage, which is very annoying. The main strat with this character is, I say character, whatever. You're going to want to dash through their attacks, and you're going to want to stay on the ground generally as much as you can. Because they're not going to be able to hit you for a lot if you're just dashing through them. The only attack where you don't want to dash through them is going to be the one where they do the triple slash, because that's just bad. Because you're still going to get hit, and that, like I said, for 2, and that is annoying. But when he does this overwhelming arrow attack where he shoots like 30 arrows at you, it's the same thing. You only have to worry about 1 arrow if you're on the ground, because that 1 arrow misses because you dash through it, and then you're good to go. The chances of you getting to heal during this fight are you don't, because it's just not worth healing in this fight. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you just get as much damage as you possibly can, and you want to crank it out, because healing, you're gonna need to heal for 2 for it to be effective. Like, you get to heal 1, and then you're done. Like, as you can see here, I barely squeaked this fight out because of how difficult he is. He attacks very fast. Even if you know what he's going to do, even if you thought of 1,000 times, it just sucks the preparation that you have to do. And the fact that if you want to actually get 112% of the game, you have to beat 10 bosses before to fight him just makes it like 30 times worse. I think that's the added stab in the bum. It is a very difficult fight. It's nothing to laugh about. Second hardest fight in the game. It's not even close. I think this fight and the next fight, which I'm sure you all know who it is next, are by far the hardest fights in the game. And if you think otherwise, you're wrong, crazy, or have fought absolute Radiance. And in my humble opinion, the hardest boss fight in the game is going to be Grim Troop, and namely Nightmare Grim Troop. Because, oh god, this boss took me 3 hours probably to beat. Like, Hollow Knight the Pure Vessel took me probably longer because I had to go through the Pantheon. But this fight alone, without all that stuff before, took me 3 hours. Just because when they attack so fast, and when they attack, there's a lot of times where you have a very small opportunity to hit them. There's also the fact that you will never, in any circumstance, ever be able to heal during this fight, except in the rare time where he goes into his bat form, like twice or 3 times a fight, maybe, and that's it. That's like, you have to earn that. And that's the only time you're ever going to be able to heal, and especially on Nightmare Grim where he's hitting you for 2, it's that stressful. He's attacking, like, he has trails behind him wherever he goes. Like, there's like 3 moves where you can get a ton of damage. He has that, like, the bat move, you can get damage. The move where he has like the geysers into the air, you can get damage. And then, like, if you're playing out of your mind, you can get damage when he's going for that 1 slice, that 2 slice when he's what's it called, when he's going up. And then there's also the move, the spikes that come out of the ground, and that just kind of hits you for 2, and that really blows. I think I struggled with Grim Troop a lot just because of how like, you can't be greedy with this fight at all. And like I said earlier, I'm a very greedy player. I like to get those greedy heals. I like to get those greedy 3 hits, those 2 hits. And when you're getting hit for 2, and it's a momentum fight where you have to have like a rhythm. It's like a song. And if you mess up one lyric, then you're screwed. Like, he attacks super fast. You have to make sure you always have a shadow dash. You're just gonna die. He rains attacks from above. Everything is Mach 1. You're getting 1 hit, maybe 2 hits max. Certain moves, he's invincible. Like, and it's just a lot. It's a sensory overload thing, and it's just a very difficult boss fight, in my opinion, hardest in the game, because I love being greedy, and this boss will just screw you over super hard for being greedy. And that's all I have to say about Grim Troop. They attack fast. They hurt even harder. And God, does it make me want to cry? Whoever made this boss is a bad person. So yeah, that's my Hollow Knight tier list. For bosses, easiest to hardest. Let me know what you think. Obviously, people are gonna disagree because I put Radiance in C, and people think that boss is really hard. I don't get it. Pure Radiance, absolutely, go to town. That one, don't get it. I'm sorry, but yeah, let me know what you think. If you enjoyed, I'll definitely do more. I'm gonna do more Hollow Knight content because I really like this game. More Hollow Knight, more Smash, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe, watch more videos, and have a good day. Bye bye.
Got a brand new shirt. Got a brand new shirt. Got a brand new shirt. Looky at my brand new shirt. Got a brand